Driven, How Adversity Helped Me Find My Greatest Potential. And the author of the book is none other than Steph Hammerman. Welcome to the show, Steph.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting. I'm so
Yes, how are
excited to be
you?
here. I'm doing good. We were just chatting. It's quite early here in Arizona, so pretty big time difference, but I am excited to be starting my day with you guys.
Yes, we are also excited to have you here on our show and excited to know about your book, your wonderful book, Driven. But before
Yes.
we go into that, I would like to know a little about you. Who is Steph? And yeah, just introduce to Steph. Introduce us to.
Who is Steph? That's quite a loaded question. But my name is Steph Hammerman. I'm actually, that was my maiden name. I actually got married almost 2 years ago. My name now is Steph Roach, but Steph the Roach doesn't sound the same as Steph the Hammer. So I decided to keep that professionally. I am 32 years old, live here in Arizona with my husband and our lovely little puppy, Hexie. I have cerebral palsy, so I was born with CP, and I am a cancer survivor, which I'm sure we'll talk about, as well as a business owner. So I have a lot of different hats, wear a lot of different hats, but I definitely try to do my best in all aspects of my life.
That's a wonderful introduction. And for those who are tuning here and don't get a chance to see Steph before, for your information, Steph is sitting on a wheelchair. And
Yes.
yes, I have to apologize to you, Steph, because before we started the show, I had to make you move the camera, move your
Oh,
wheelchair to be
you're fine.
but then you were so energetic in trying to set everything up, and I could see the potential that you have of doing things, just working things by yourself, and your husband is not
Yeah.
around right now. So that's quite a good intro.
Yeah, my husband is sleeping right now, but I do have cerebral palsy, so that means that I have to use crutches and a wheelchair to be able to get around. And the wheelchair is a little bit bigger than my human body, so maneuvering in smaller spaces is not always easy. But that's everyday life. I've been adapting since I was a little girl, and I really don't know anything different. So it's not really like it's an inconvenience. It's just part of who I am, and I don't know anything different. So I was born like this, and that's all I really know.
Talking of when you were a little girl, how was it
Yeah.
growing up?
Growing up was pretty interesting. A lot of people assume that I would like have like endured like a lot of bullying and things like that, but quite honestly, I had incredible friends. I had an incredible support system, and it was never really like bullying. It was more trying to get the adults in my life to understand that like I was gonna be okay, and they didn't have to necessarily like hover over me or like put me in like bubble wrap. Like I just wanted to be like a normal kid. Something that you'll learn in the book is that I'm one of four children, and one of those children is my twin brother. So my twin brother was born completely able-bodied. We both obviously were born together, and we were born 3 months premature, and I was a really small baby. I was 1 pound 15 ounces when I was born. So I lost a lot of oxygen and blood to my brain, which caused me to have cerebral palsy. And basically, like the simplest way that I can describe CP is the messages from my brain to the rest of my body don't always function the same way as it would for you. So if you dropped your keys on the floor, it could take you 2 seconds to pick them up. It probably takes me about 30 seconds to pick mine up. So I know what I want to do. Intellectually, I understand everything. Cognitively, we're having a conversation, But if physically you wanted me to do something, it's going to take a little bit longer. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
And that's very logical. I mean, talking of the challenges that you have, and the inspiring thing looking at you and the things that you do, and now that you have a book written, is that we have so many able-bodied people around who go around complaining, who go around not doing the right things that they should be doing, and you're there inspiring people. So we once
So
again, once again, thank you.
you're
Yeah, you
welcome.
want to say something.
I was going to say, a big part of my life has been fitness, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you see the cover of the book is a time in my life where I was in a competition and I was doing, for those that don't know what CrossFit is, it's just functional fitness. It's a type of workout program, but fitness has always been important in my life, even as a little girl. Before, I was lifting heavy weights and doing crazy workouts, I was still active with my friends, going outside, trying to get the best experience I could socially as a child. So I'm pretty lucky that way.
Mm-hmm. And you talked about you wanting to live life just a normal way that the other people are living. So that means that you went to a mainstream school. I mean, just like
Yeah,
any other person. That's good. And the
I did.
teachers were cooperative and helpful, I guess.
Yeah, so I mainstreamed school when I was 5 years old. I went into school with my brothers, and then my little sister came along a couple of years later. But I've always been mainstreamed. I had certain documents. When you go to school, you have the IEP if you have special needs, and I always had an IEP kind of writing down or having written down like what I needed and the different specifications. But as I got older, I was just really able to advocate for myself. And I think I really truly found my voice when I went off to college. Most people assumed that I would go to college, somewhere close to home. At the time, I lived in New York, and you could just go to a local college. But I decided I wanted to go away to Florida, and I went away to university in Florida in Boca Raton called Lynn University, and it was
Mm-hmm.
the best 4 years of my life. I got to experience so many different things. I got to experience what it was like to really take on advocacy roles, leadership roles, and have people take my voice truly seriously. When I first went to college, just like most freshmen, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I was going to originally go into hospitality, then I wanted to go into education, and then I started really falling in love with the idea of PR, marketing, and advertising. So I ended up getting an undergrad bachelor's degree in advertising and marketing. And then when I was done with college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so my family gave me the advice to just continue my education. So I went to Nova Southeastern University and got a master's degree in college student affairs. So I thought I was going to work in housing and residence life for quite a while, and it was really becoming a passion of mine. And then I found CrossFit and hand cycling, and I fell in love with adaptive fitness. And I'm kind of speeding it up a little bit, Cliff Notes, but in 2012, I started CrossFit. And then in 2013, I loved it so much that I wanted to become a coach. And I became the world's first CrossFit uh, level 2 trainer now, female with cerebral palsy. So
Mm-hmm.
created some history there, which is really cool. And we talk about some really fun stories in the book as well.
Mm. Wonderful. The book, how did it come to be?
Oh man, this is something I've wanted to write since I was probably 8 years old. Um, I don't know if you remember, but when Oprah had her show, she used to have like a Oprah's book club, and I remember like sitting in front of the TV and just being like, one day I want her to read my book. And that's still a goal of mine. I want to get Oprah to read my book somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But so, Oprah, if you're watching, please read my book. So, so I've always had a knack for writing. I've always had a knack for wanting to tell stories, and it took a long time because I wasn't really ready to write the full book. There were many times where I thought I was, and 2020 came, and just like everybody, we were kind of in lockdown, and I thought, what? There's no better time than now. So it was definitely a process. I had a lot of guidance and pointing me in the right direction, but I'm so proud of it.
Hmm. And it's good that you always have someone who's by your side, supporting you, encouraging you, showing you the way forward. And we are just excited that you told us that you recently got married. Whoa, that's amazing.
Yeah.
We are excited for you.
Thank you.
In your writing, what would you say? Although you say that you had some guidance, some support, what was your biggest challenge once you started writing it?
What was my biggest challenge?
On writing the book.
I would say the uh, I would say probably just navigating the challenging parts
Mm-hmm.
of my life, because not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Not everything felt motivational at times, and there's a parts in my book where I talk about some really tough struggles, some really tough family dynamics, and I never really wanted to hurt anyone's feelings, but I also wanted to be true to myself.
Mm-hmm.
um at a very young age, I learned what it meant to lose somebody that you loved. I had one of my best friends pass away when I was 15, and it was very sudden, and it was just a kind of like a freak thing, and it kind of taught me how fragile life is. And it's one of the connecting factors in my entire book as to sharing these stories and trying to be as open and honest as possible, because you never know how the reader is going to connect with you. And if somebody's on the other end reading or listening to this book, they can feel like, I've gotten a lot of feedback where people are like, I felt that part of the book, or I could hear your voice saying like this part of the book, and it really resonated with me. So if it helps one person, I'm just super grateful.
Hmm, that's great. And you are the one that narrated the book, isn't it?
Yes, I am.
You narrated. In how many formats is the book?
The book is in, I think, three different formats.
Mm-hmm.
It's in an ebook, it's the hardcover, and it's in the audiobook. The ebook and the audiobook, excuse me, are out right now, and the hardcover is on its way. I have them in my in my possession, but we're having a little printing delay, so you can pre-order it, but it'll be to you in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah, sure. And we are sharing the link to that book to the Amazon page where you can order that. Now, going back where you mentioned that you'd like to one day be on Opera. Now, I look at your profiles and I see that you've been on some major TV stations. Tell us about that.
Yes. I've been very, very fortunate to be on some very large broadcasting situations. So I was on CNN for the first time when I was 7 years old, and then again when I was 23, which is cool. So we got to kind of do two different times on that. And then in 2019, I got to be on Good Morning America and talk to Robin Roberts, and we talked about the gym that I had at the time, and unfortunately with COVID, we had to close that gym, but we pivoted, and I now teach all virtual fitness through the computer, which is really cool.
That's wonderful, and people should follow up with you and learn more about that. And you tell us how to get to connect with you. Um, and talking of going there, I know it's going to be possible for you if you've gone up to that level, and if you're on this show today, then you are definitely destined for higher things and bigger
Oh,
things.
thank you.
And we wish you all the best in everything. So at this point, I want to appreciate each and every person who is watching us, those who are listening, and those who get to watch us and listen to us after we are through. You can always get our episodes at bookplacemedia.com. And we want to thank all the channels that are tuned. We are live on TikTok, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. And I see some people who are liking. Continue liking, continue sharing it with your friends, because this is why we do it. And don't forget to get the book. Yeah, we said that we are
Yeah.
going to share the link.
And
Don't forget to get the book. Yeah, go on.
if people are on social media, all of my social media from Facebook to TikTok to Instagram, Twitter, it's all Steph the Hammer, one word. So if you guys want to interact with me on the social media and tell me about the book and tell me what you thought about reading it, I would love to hear that.
Wonderful. So you can always find Steph the Hammer.
Mhm.
Why the nickname? Why the nickname?
So my maiden name is Hammerman, right? So
Yeah.
Steph Hammerman. And so I see your messages. Thank you. My maiden name is Steph Hammerman, and in one of the first competitions I ever did, the announcer was saying the athletes' names, and he said, "And Steph the Hammerman," and the whole place just went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of just stuck. And one of the big stories that I talk about in the book is I had the opportunity to help create the first ever adaptive division in a mainstream fitness competition in 2014. And so
Mm-hmm.
it gives a lot more people with disabilities the opportunity to understand fitness. And I think when people think about fitness, the first person they think about isn't somebody with a disability,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of wanted to change that and kind of flip it on its head.
Mm, beautiful. Let's look a bit deeper into the book, Driven: How Adversity Helped Me Find My Greatest Potential. Um, you talk of the foundation as one of your chapters. What do you explain? What do you talk about there in the foundation?
Yeah, so I have an extremely close relationship with my grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been fortunate enough to have them in my life for 84 years, or I should say, in my whole life. So I'm 32 years. Hexie, stop. Sorry, I have a dog. She apparently just wants to wake up. And so my entire life I've had them, and not a lot of people have the opportunity to say that. But the foundation really comes from just all of the things that my grandparents and the greater part of my family has instilled in me, and the fact that I can do anything I put my mind to. And just because I have a physical disability doesn't stop me from achieving anything that I want to achieve. It might take a little bit longer, and it might be maybe a little bit more challenging or take a couple more steps than most people. But if I really wanted to do something, I could get it done.
Mm-hmm. So that's the foundation. And then the power of choice. What's in it?
Yeah, so this one I talked about having the choice to go from um, going to a school for people specifically with physical disability and challenges, and then having the choice to do that or go to a mainstream school. And
Mm-hmm.
so that really kind of sparked the change because I was given a choice, right? I wasn't told one thing or the other. And so when I decided to mainstream, I kind of took myself out of the disability community for a little bit. Not that I wasn't always in it, but I think I resonated more with the able bodied community. And I started understanding that, I was able to live kind of in both worlds, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And each and every one of us who are listening, we have a choice to make. Every time that we wake up and we are facing the
Yeah.
day ahead of us, there are going to be challenges yet in whatever that is that you choose to pursue. And in your family, in your business, in any organization that you are in, you have the opportunity to make a choice. And taking the example of Steph, then you'd better choose that choice is going to be positive, that is going to be encouraging, if however
Yeah,
hard it may seem.
I think everybody does have a choice, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes we don't always know if we're making the right choice. And sometimes, things happen for a reason. But at the end of the day, each choice that you make is meant to happen.
Mhm.
And whether you deal with the consequences of a choice or you deal with the rewards of a choice, you just have to be prepared to deal with both.
Hmm. You talk about the worst they can say is no. What's
Yeah.
there?
The worst anyone can say is no, right? So if I have this idea, right, and I really want to be on Oprah, like
Mhm.
I message her and I try to talk to her every single day, and she finally gets back to me and says, Steph, it's just not a good fit. At least I know that I tried. But
Mhm.
what happens? What happens if I message her every single day? She finally sees it and she's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know about you. I read this book. It is incredible and I want to talk to you." That would never have happened or never would happen if I don't try, right? And so one of the underlying themes in this book is literally chasing the yes. It's
Mhm.
not meant to be desperate, right? But in anytime somebody says no, okay, it's time to move on. If you feel like there's a second opportunity to maybe go back to that person and say, I'm really serious, and they still say no, okay, you learn from it, you learn from that mistake, and then you move forward. And that's kind of the concept of chasing the yes. Because what happens when they say yes? Are you ready to accept that? My husband
Mhm.
and I, we talk about this concept of everybody is always like prepared for failure. Everybody is always prepared to fail,
Mhm.
right? But have you truly prepared yourself for success? And like that's something that like a lot of people don't think about. What happens if Oprah reads my book and millions upon millions start reading my book? Am I ready for that? Like I don't know that I have fully prepared myself for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day you just kind of have to, chase the yes and prepare yourself for success.
Yes, the yes, and prepare yourself for success. That's wonderful. That's very good sharing that with us. Someone actually said that no simply means next opportunity. That's NO, next opportunity. So
I like that.
when I go somewhere and I'm told no, it brings to in my mind that I should go there another time because that was not, there's a next opportunity somewhere. Wonderful. And for those of you who are joining right now, we are at Book Talk, and we have our guest Steph Hammerman, who has authored the book Driven: How Adversity Helped Me Find My Greatest Potential. Such an inspiring book that you should go and read it. And we are almost coming to the end of this show, but we've got a few more minutes, and we want to thank each and every person yet again We have Steph who's been here. Okay. She sends you much love. Thank you, Steph, for being here with us. And those who may comment later, we will read the comments. You can always go and connect with Steph from the handles that she explained to you. And new adversity, new adventure. That kind of goes together with the whatever the worst that they can say is no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as as if like CP wasn't enough, which I mean, it's an interesting part of life. In 2016, I was dating my now husband, and we were dating about 5 months. He was a fireman paramedic, and we found a lump underneath my armpit, and that lump happened to be cancerous.
Mm-hmm.
I had stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I had to undergo chemotherapy and Lupron therapy for 6 months. And it kind of, put things on the back burner for a little bit. It forced me to have to really look at my priorities and take care of myself. And but now I am happy to say that I am 5 years cancer free and 6 years since chemo. So I'm super happy to be able to say that. And we are now happily married. So it's pretty cool that we were able to kind of stay together and get stronger together. And we've created a pretty amazing life with each other.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. And we are very happy for you. And we are wishing you great things ahead as you keep on being positive the way that you are. And may great things happen for you. And the last chapter that I will mention, I haven't mentioned all the chapters. Hey, you who is listening, you should book and know what is in all the other chapters. But I've got to mention one more chapter, which is in the book, Staying Driven.
Yeah, staying driven. So staying driven as a general concept is really just trying to stay positive, stay moving every single day. But staying driven is actually a business that I created out of the pandemic. So I used to own a CrossFit gym, and we had to unfortunately close that gym because of COVID. But
Mm-hmm.
I still was training people, and they still wanted to be able to come to my classes. So
Mm-hmm.
just like everybody in 2020, we signed up for a Zoom account, and 2 years later, I'm coaching 30 classes a week. I have hundreds of people that I train each day, pretty much, and it's a pretty incredible new business model. So it's been definitely an adventure, but definitely a lesson in staying driven.
Staying driven. Wow, wow. This is quite an experience that we are getting to hear from Steph Hammerman. Remember, when you go to search for her on her social handles, it's Steph the Hammer. Steph the Hammer. And you get to connect with her, get to know about her trainings, get to know everything, and also follow up with her to get a signed copy. I know you do signed copies.
Yes.
Mm? So,
Thank you. I will definitely send you one.
oh, thank you. I appreciate.
You'll have to send me your address. I'll send you
I
one.
will. I will. And all that are connected with Steph, get to know about how to get your signed copy. So,
Thank you.
yeah. What's in the future? What's in the making? I mean, what is it that you have ahead of you?
It's funny. Everybody's been asking me that, and I'm trying to find the right answer. This definitely won't be my last book. I know that for sure. I really am looking forward to possibly writing a children's book
Mm-hmm.
and talking about kind of how to have those conversations about being different. Um, I think, diversity is one thing, but accessibility is a complete other. So having that concept of making things more accessible to children is something that I'm pretty passionate about. and just trying to grow the business. And hopefully, this book will do well, but just making sure that I can get the word out to as many people as possible.
Wow. And we are sure you're going to do those things because you've that heart, that courage, and you keep going and you're resilient. So we know that you are going to achieve in those areas. And we continue
Thank
to
you.
wish you, we continue to wish you all the best. So that's about it for today. We really thank you. We are honored to have had you here on our show, and we look forward to
Thank
see
you.
you, Oprah, someday soon.
Yes. Oprah, if you're watching, I can't wait to hear from you.
Ah, great. And before we go, we always ask our authors to leave us with a few words that we can always remember. What are your words, Seth?
To always remember,
Mm-hmm.
believe in yourself because you are stronger than you think you are.
Wow. Believe in yourself because you're stronger than you think you are. That's from
Mhm.
The Hammer, the author of Driven. Go get it. And that's about it. Thank you very much, each and every one of you. We really appreciate. And
Thank you.
yes, that's all from me, the host, Anthony Morore, and Steph, the Hammerman. We're saying bye for now.
See you later.
Bye.